Hello, Ambush, and what is good? Welcome to another episode here at the Desert Tiger Podcast here with me, your host on the DTP, Colton G. And this week on Desert Tiger, I am joined by Jason Blaine as we talk to him all about his new single, Drink Too Much. We're going to tell you a little bit more about Jason here right away. Before we get there, we have to take care of a little bit of business. So first off, I want to go ahead and mention ilovedtp.com because it is the best place where you can go ahead and support the podcast. Because not only do you do that, you support the podcast, but you also get to represent the show everywhere you go by picking up yourself some Desert Tiger podcast merchandise, swag, gear, whatever you want to call it. That's where you grab it. That's where you rep it. ilovedtp.com. Today's episode is also brought to you today by Audible. Audible has the largest selection of audio programs on the web, and you can get started with a free audiobook with a free month trial of Audible over at audibletrial.com/Desert Tiger. Today's episode is also brought to you by Fiverr. Fiverr is the internet's largest community of freelancers, and it's also where you are going to find the perfect candidate to help you grow and expand your brand. All right, let's jump into Jason Blaine. At the root of it all, Jason Blaine was born to sing, write, and entertain. His love for country music has taken him to the forefront of the Canadian music scene, where he has remained for over a decade. With over 12 top 10 singles in Canada, the songwriter first burst onto the scene in 2007 with his first of those top 10s in Rock in My Boot, which led to multiple CCMA nominations and paved the way for a string of hit singles. Among them, other big songs like Countryside and Don't Make 'Em Like That Anymore. Jason has also garnered quite the reputation as a Nashville songwriter, helping to pen songs for artists like Chris Jansen and Madeline Merlo, while also adding thousands of kilometers to the odometer while co-headlining tours with some of country's biggest names. When Jason isn't behind a guitar or a pen, he can be found planning and partaking in the Jason Blaine Celebrity Charity Golf Classic, which is gearing up for its 7th year and so far has raised over $500,000 for the community that Jason grew up in. Now a multiple CCMA, SOCAN, and CMAO award winner with over 20 plus radio hits, 6 full-length albums, and over 10 million digital streams. Jason is ready to return to radio after his first year off from releasing music. Drink Too Much features Blaine's signature vocals and encourages you to let your hair down and embrace your wild side. And it is the perfect way to kick off his new project, which he plans to release this spring. Jason Blaine joins the Desert Tiger podcast to talk about giving back with golf, his upcoming EP, and all about his new single, Drink Too Much, which you're also going to hear about a time that maybe Jason did exactly that, and I can't wait for all of that to happen in today's episode of the podcast. And why don't we kick it off with that new single right now? This is Drink Too Much.
You've been crossing T's and dotting I's too much. Off to work and paying every bill on time too much. Baby, you've been up at the crack of dawn and working out in the morning, doing what they tell you you should do too much. But it's Friday night and I just wanna get a little loose. Baby, maybe me and you need a long night off from being responsible, dependable tonight. Don't you kinda wanna driver, drive tonight. Fill the bartender's jar too high tonight. Yeah, we'll be up till the crack of dawn and sleeping away the morning. It doesn't matter what we get into tonight. I kinda wanna drink too much, drink too much. Go a little crazy, get a little hazy. I don't wanna think too much, think too much. Just let you outside, run the show tonight. Hey baby, don't you kinda miss the tipsy kiss and whiskey smile? Girl, you know it's been a while. Don't you kinda wanna drink too much? It's Friday night and I just wanna get a little loose. Baby, maybe me and you need a long night off from being responsible, dependable tonight. Don't you kinda wanna drink too much? Yeah, drink too much. I kinda wanna drink too much, drink too much. Go a little crazy, get a little hazy. I don't wanna think too much, think too much. Just let you outside, run the show tonight. Hey baby, don't you kinda miss the tipsy kiss and whiskey smile? Girl, you know it's been a while. Don't you kinda wanna drink too much? I kinda wanna drink too much. Hey baby, drink too much. Yeah.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
Right on, Colton. Nice to talk to you too, man.
Very, very much looking forward to it. How are you doing this Thursday?
Man, I'm doing great. The sun's shining down here in Tennessee. It's a beautiful day. Everything is good.
All right, fantastic. I like to hear that. Do you guys get much of like a winter down in Tennessee, or how does the weather work down there?
No. I mean, for an Ontario boy, it's nothing. No, it's laughable. We'll get a dusting of snow, and it's like snowmageddon down here. You know, it's like everything closes up. They cancel the schools. It's crazy.
Everything. Nobody can handle it.
Yeah, they're just not equipped for it down here, you know, but it's rare. Like usually if it snows, it'll be gone by noon.
Oh, wow. So pretty warm climate then.
Yeah. How about yourself, man? Where are you in Kamloops area of Canada?
Yeah, I live in Kamloops itself, but I'm originally from middle of nowhere, Saskatchewan.
Oh, okay. Well, most places in Saskatchewan are the middle of nowhere. I love it, though.
No doubt.
Yeah, I've been to many places in Saskatchewan. I'm actually going to be heading back there April 11th for a really great cause called Build Love that I just posted about on my Instagram. And before that, I was there for an event back in the fall. I've even been a part of Tell a Miracle. I've got a good place in my heart for Saskatchewan, though, seriously.
Oh, what? You've even done Tell a Miracle. I didn't know that.
Twice, yeah.
Really? Wow. Well, thank you very much for contributing to such a wonderful cause in the province. I mean, Tell a Miracle's huge down there.
It's amazing. I just love Saskatchewan, and I love the people of Saskatchewan. What I've always found is that they don't wait. They don't just like sit back and wait for somebody else to do something. When something needs to be done, they come together as a community, as a people, and they just get it done, whether it's Tell a Miracle or this thing that I'm going to be a part of called Build Love, something they just I just love that about Saskatchewan people. A lot of good folks out there.
Oh, definitely. It's a lot of people that when they see something, they kind of look at it and they say, well, if somebody's going to do it, I might as well be the person to do it because, I mean, if I don't, who's going to stand up?
Yeah, exactly. I love that. So I love going out that way, and I love getting out to Kamloops too, man. That's great out there. It's a beautiful part of the country. You must love it.
Oh, it's been a nice change of pace for the last 2 years. I mean, I miss the prairies and I miss like being in that environment, but like we were talking about weather earlier, like I've barely seen anything worse than -30, so I'm loving it in regards to weather, and then just being able to see mountains
Yeah.
just surrounding me all the time. It's a lot different from the vast fields that I'm used to.
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful out there. I love it. I love going out there in the summertime.
You said you were going to be going to Saskatchewan for this Love Heals, was it what that you called it?
Build Love. It's called Build Love. Yeah, and I just posted about it on my Instagram today. It's a group of some contractors out there have got together, and they'll do remodels on people's houses that are sort of struggling with some maybe long-term needs and stuff, where they might need to remodel a place and make it more efficient or more conducive to somebody's situation. So it's really cool, and I'm heading that way April 11th. So hopefully help them raise some good money for that, and I'll be joining my pal JoJo Mason, is a good buddy, and we're going to go out and kind of do that together and shine a light on that.
Oh, so you guys are going to be doing sort of a charity fundraiser, playing some good music to help some good feelings.
Yeah, to help the folks out. We got asked to do it, and it's an excuse to go back to say hi to my friends in Saskatchewan, and specifically this time it'll be in Regina.
All right. Well, I'm sure that your friends in Saskatchewan will be more than excited to have you back and to help celebrate this cause with you.
I hope so. I think so. And it sounds like it'll be a fun time, and always nice to see everybody out there.
All right. So, do you make it back to Canada often then, or do you spend most of your time down in stateside?
Yeah, so I live in Tennessee. I've been down here since '06, so 13 years down here. I've got 4 kids. Two of our kids are my wife and I. We've got 4 kids, and 2 of them are American. They were born here in Tennessee, and I get back to Canada mostly in the summertime. Sometimes I make it up throughout the winter months for a different event here or there, but I'll make it back for sure every June. I do a charity fundraiser in my hometown of Pembroke, Ontario, and this year I'll be heading back in June 16th and 17th for our 7th annual celebrity golf and concert fundraiser, and we raise funds for different charities within the community. We've supported all kinds of things over the years, from the Boys and Girls Club to the Robbie Dean Center for Mental Health, the local MRI initiative in the hospital, my old college where I went to school called Algonquin College. And last year we broke $500,000 raised. So I'm really excited to head back that way in June. And again, it'll be a big homecoming, and as it always is, and see friends and family and have a good time.
Oh, wow. So even though you're living down in Tennessee, you're still making the time to go back home and give back to the community that helped raise you and help build you up into the individual you are today.
Absolutely. They've been, especially with the introduction of Facebook in '06, that's when that really kind of blew up and became a thing. It was a great way. I stayed connected with my hometown and all my friends and family back there, and everybody's just been incredibly supportive throughout my career, always cheering me on at every sort of milestone in my career or achievements or anything like that. Just cheering me on social media, specifically Facebook, and so this was my way to sort of give back to that town that I'm from.
Wow, that's fantastic. So what exactly inspired you to do like a golf charity classic? Because like in your music you hear a lot about your love of fishing and everything else. Were you an avid golfer growing up as well, or what inspired the golf charity game?
No, it's funny, people just like to play golf and raise money. It's just a really good format. I'm not a very good golfer. I get out a couple times a year with my dad, but that's about it. I got invited years ago to Gord Bamford's charity golf tournament. He does a celebrity charity golf tournament, and I was paired with a couple of NHL hockey players and stuff out there, and Calgary Flames Curtis Glencross at the time, and we had a blast. And I've been back to Gord's event several times, and And that's really, I had never been to anything like that. I was never invited to anything like that before, and this was years ago, and I thought, man, this is a great idea. So Gord had been doing his event before I got started. I never saw anything like that. I'd never been to anything like that. So it really, that planted the seed for me. I thought, man, I would love to get something like this going back in my hometown. And I talked to Gord about it, and he gave me some great advice and encouragement, and he was there to help us kick it off in year one. And we've been going ever since.
Oh, that's awesome that you had a good friend to help you get things started, somebody who had already possibly gone through a little bit of the troubles of getting these things started himself.
Oh, absolutely. Gord had been done it and had he still has to this day a very, and probably the most successful one at least one of the most successful ones in the whole country. I mean, they've raised millions of dollars. My goal was just to do whatever we could. I didn't get any wild ideas about raising millions of dollars, but let alone hundreds of thousands. I just thought we'll just put an event together and see what we can do. And so to hit the $500,000 last year was a huge milestone. It's a small town. The town only has a population of about 12,000 people in right in Pembroke. So it's not a huge community like a Red Deer or Alberta or something like that. But it's been incredible the amount of guest artists I've had come out and support us. I mean, everybody, like I said, from Gord to that year, Kira Isabella, Chad Brownlee, Tim Hicks, Dallas Smith, Jason McCoy, JoJo Mason, Dan Davidson, gosh, just to name a few, Rivertown Saints. We've just been really blessed to have all kinds of support. Aaron Pichette has been twice, and we've got a good lineup for this year too, but I haven't announced it yet, so I can't tell you.
Well, I'm sure if it's the 7th, and I mean after last year where you guys had your record-breaking highest total and then altogether raising $500,000, I'm sure this year sets to raise the bar once again.
That's what we try to do. We just try to make it as good as we can every year and have a good time, and it'll be fun to play some new music this year too. I'll have a new EP coming out in May with some new music, and I'm really stoked about that too.
All right, let's jump into the music side of the world, because last year, 2019, was actually the first year in well over a decade that you didn't release a single. So this EP is going to be your first release since 2017, and your latest single, Drink Too Much, is your first single since 2018. So was there a little bit of a reason for a little bit of a time in between there? Was it to just take a little bit of a break and spend it with family? What is the reasoning for that? And what was it like to finally get back into writing your own music again?
Yeah, so I mean, I not to really get into it too much, but I had parted ways with my record label, and it took a little time to find my footing on my own and figure it out. And just kind of doing my songwriting thing here in Nashville. I had been writing some songs for some other artists, that had gotten placed here in the States. On the American side of stuff, this artist Chris Jansen, who's just been blowing up, cut one of my songs, and Madeline Merlo had it hit on something we wrote together, and the guys from Petrick, and just kind of doing that and sort of collecting some songs and starting to record. And I don't know. I don't know where 2019 went. It feels like it just flew by. So it wasn't intentional not to put out music. I just felt like the year sort of just disappeared on me, and here we are in 2020 with new music ready to go.
All right, so let's jump into it. Let's start off with the first single that released on January 24th of 2020 here, Drink Too Much. So after having that little bit of a break, what was it like to get this single out, and what has the reception been for Drink Too Much?
Pretty good. It's a little early to tell, but the comments on social media have been great, and we're going to radio here this week across Canada, and it's a lot of fun. It's a fun song, and I know that some of the folks across the nation that have been booking us for festival dates and stuff have been really loving the song, and can't wait to get out there this summer and play it in front of the fans.
You just said it went to radio, but it already has well over 50,000 downloads on streaming already, so an already strong start. Hopefully radio takes to it that strong as well.
Yeah, we're up probably even since you looked last. I mean, it's up over 100,000 streams and stuff already on Apple and across Apple and Spotify. And it's funny, Apple doesn't show the streams, and traditionally it's kind of strange, but whatever their reasoning is behind that. But traditionally my numbers have been even better on Apple Music. They've been a huge vehicle and a huge supporter for me, as well as Spotify too. But it's just been great, man, to see it land on different playlists across the different streaming formats from Spotify to Apple, and see fans sharing it and stuff. It's been awesome.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely crazy how just that other side of the entire music world has just evolved so much in even just the last 5 years.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even a thing, just a couple of years ago. I mean, 5 years ago, it really wasn't much of a thing, and gosh, whenever I started, it was completely the opposite. It was, the streaming and downloads and everything back in when I moved to Nashville was like, well, first of all, there was no such thing as streaming, but it was just downloads, and it was like something like 15% of the industry. But what's really cool about it, I mean, I hear, people complain about it, and it has its issues. They still struggle to, songwriters are still in the fight to get, what they rightfully deserve to be paid from streaming services and stuff like that. And you hear a lot of that talk here in Nashville. There's organizations like NSAI that fight on Capitol Hill on behalf of songwriters and do amazing work and have made huge strides and leaps and bounds for songwriter rights. But creatively, it's been pretty cool as an artist, because like you said, we can, you can put a song out and it instantly reaches the fans the day it drops, and everybody, I mean, more and more people, and gosh, especially the younger generation, everybody's got either Apple or Spotify or Amazon Music or both, and they can get it, as soon as you announce, they can get the song. So, and that'll be the case in May whenever we drop the EP. It's not like you have to go and dig through a Walmart, rack or something like that, or ultimately end up lost in some section of the store and people can't find your CD. It's like you'll have music out there in the hands of the fans where it belongs instantly, and that's a cool thing. That's been a game changer, I think, for the music industry.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And then if those fans truly, really want the physical media as well, they can go ahead and get that either through online stores or by seeing you live as well. So it's not like that option is totally gone either.
It's not totally gone, but it's going. It seems like it's going fast. I don't even know if we haven't got that far. I don't even know if we'll do a physical run of this EP. I still love it. I still love to hold something in my hand, but it's getting to where it doesn't make sense hardly anymore to press something. You're better off just to do a run of T-shirts or something like that. It's crazy. I mean, I still want to do a vinyl, because I think vinyl's actually really cool and clearly on a comeback for a cool concert keepsake or something like that. I just got my wife got me a vinyl record player for Christmas because I asked her for one, because there's something about the crackle and listening to a vinyl. It's super cool. So I don't know. I think it's one step at a time, and the important thing is that you get the music out there, on all those streaming services to the fans.
Definitely. You want to make sure that you can get those songs into the hands and the ears of the listeners as quickly as you possibly can. And we're going to be getting another one of Jason Blaine's songs into the ears of you, the ambush, here right away. A single that he released in 2018 entitled Ain't Got Growing Up Down Yet. We're going to be spinning that track for you very soon. But first off, we have to take care of a little bit of business. And first and foremost, I want to shout out ilovedtp.com. Because not only is it one of the best places where you can support the show, it's also where you go and get yourself decked out in the latest and greatest Desert Tiger podcast gear, merch, swag, whatever you want to call it. That's where you go ahead and cop it so that you can rep the show every single place you go. Desert Tiger Podcast is also brought to you today by these wonderful friends and affiliates. Today's episode of Desert Tiger is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners, that's right, you guys, the Desert Tiger Ambush. They're offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. All that you have to go ahead and do is head on over to audibletrial.com/Desert Tiger and begin browsing the unmatched selection of audio programs. Choose and download whatever title piques your interest. There's so many different options and selections. And start listening today. It's that easy. All you have to do is head on over to audible.com/Desert Tiger and you can get started today. And let me tell you, I love Audible. As someone that's constantly on the road, who's in the gym, doing lots of other things, sometimes it's hard to get that reading time in, that personal development time in, and that's where Audible comes in handy. Last week I told you about how I was listening to Atomic Habits by James Clear, and well, that's still what I'm listening to, is I definitely want to retain the information in this book while I'm on the hunt for my next listen, and you can find your next listen over at audibletrial.com/Desert Tiger.
Blame it on my rowdy roots, blame it all on Bo and Luke, tearing up the country to that wailing song. We ain't met a Friday night that we didn't like, and you ain't gotta tell us twice to get a little gone. Windows down on the back road check, beer on ice in an old truck bed. Old folks like to shake their heads, cause we ain't got growing up down yet. Still turn it up too loud, still up for throwing it down, way out where you howl at the full moon. Still in it all night long, hands up singing it along, mixing our drinks as strong as we want to. We're good at burning nights like cigarettes, smoking rubber off these treads. Hell, I guess we ain't got growing up down, we ain't got growing up down yet. Ain't getting in no rush to slow it down a touch. That's for down the line on some old front porch swing. Cause right now that setting sun is telling us the night is young. Let's fill our cups and raise them up, cause so are we. Homemade wine and a blanket check, speakers pumping that beat you bet. Might wake up with a pounding head, cause we ain't got growing up down yet. Still turn it up too loud, still up for throwing it down, way out where you howl at the full moon. Still in it all night long, hands up singing it along, mixing our drinks as strong as we want to. We're good at burning nights like cigarettes, smoking rubber off these treads. Hell, I guess we ain't got growing up down, we ain't got growing up down yet. No, not yet. Come on, windows down on the back road check, beer on ice in an old truck bed. Yep, old folks still shaking their heads. Ha ha, cause we ain't got growing up down yet. Not yet. Still turn it up too loud, still up for throwing it down, way out where you howl at the full moon. Still in it all night long, hands up singing it along, mixing our drinks as strong as we want to. We're good at burning nights like cigarettes, smoking rubber off these treads. Hell, I guess we ain't got growing up down, we ain't got growing up down yet. Not yet.
Desert Tiger Podcast.
What inspired Drink Too Much? I mean, it's definitely a feel-good anthem for letting your hair down. Was it something to do with being a part of a family and a father of four and needing to break out and spend some time, or what was the meaning behind the song and what motivated you to write it?
I think, you know what, first of all, I have to be clear. I didn't write the song. It was pitched to me, which is rare that I'd cut an outside song. I mean, so I hadn't been writing a lot of those. I just had not been, when it came time to record some new music, I was, I had a little folder of songs that I was going in to record, and I realized I just didn't have anything that was sort of that fun, that just kind of a party song. Because they are, they can seem like they're novelty songs or something like that, but they're actually, there's a real craft to writing them really, really well. And when I heard it, I thought, man, this is just fantastic. I mean, I just don't think I can write anything better, in the amount of time that I have to before we head into the studio. I'm missing this spot on the record. So it's really the only thing. I wouldn't say it represents the whole EP, but it's definitely something I wanted to lead with, because we'll be coming into touring season and the summertime and everything here in a few months, and I just really wanted to have another song like this in my live show. And I think recently too, people have known me for some, which is a good thing. I like it. They've gotten to know me for songs like They Don't Make Them Like That Anymore, or Dance With My Daughter, or Born to Love, and I've been doing some of that stuff, which has been important to show that deeper side of what I do, but it's not the only side. I'm also the husband and father of four that sometimes just wants to go and have a few drinks with some friends and my wife and get a little crazy and have some fun, and just keep that side of our spirits alive. I think that's most people.
Mm-hmm. And it's definitely good to have those songs for the live show, like you said, that the fans can get a little bit more energy into and can break out a move.
Yeah, it's just fun. They're not change the world songs. It's not something to sit and ponder over. It's just fun. It's just a fun song, and you got to have those too.
Absolutely. So you mentioned your wife is part of one of the groups that you might go and drink with, and I actually saw on your Facebook when I was doing my research that your wife was a part of the album art for this single as well. How important has your wife been to your career?
Oh, pretty important. I mean, she doesn't get into the trenches of, like actually working, any part of my career, but I always play her music and see what she thinks about stuff. And it's actually, she was a big part of the call on that song. She was just like, just do something fun. The people just like fun, because as a songwriter, you want to change the world every time you write a song or put a song into it. And she's right. Sometimes it's just about a fun song, and just something people can put on and have a good time to with their friends. And that's what we do. And so yeah, it was a no-brainer, because the lyric of the song, if you really listen to it, it's written like I would say to her. It's written from a guy to a girl, boyfriend to girlfriend, husband to wife, whatever might be the case. Just saying like, hey, the line is, you've been dotting T's and crossing I's too much, off to work and paying every bill on time too much. You've been up at the crack of dawn and working out in the morning and doing what they say you got to do too much. But it's Friday night, and I say we go have some fun. That's what the song is about, and that's our lives. With 4 kids, anybody who has a bunch of kids knows sometimes you just got to call a sitter and get out on the town a little bit.
This is definitely true. You need that time for you both so that you can enjoy each other's company and just each other's company.
Definitely. So, and that being said, it was a no-brainer that I wanted the song to be about that, and I wanted a photograph that represented the spirit of the song, and so it made perfect sense to have my wife in it, and I think she looks absolutely gorgeous in the photo, and it turned out great.
Well, I'm glad that you're happy with how everything turned out. Let's jump into the rest of the EP. How many songs is there going to end up being on this? Do you plan on dropping any other singles before the EP comes out in May?
I'd like to. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'd like to. There's 6 songs on it, and it ranges from songs about home, songs about heaven, songs about love, songs about our journey from Canada, 1,000 miles away here to Nashville, Tennessee. It really kind of touches on all of the aspects of life that move me, and in six short songs, and I can't wait to get them out there and share them with the world.
All right, fantastic. Well, I mean, between being a father, a Nashville certified songwriter, hit maker, a award-winning artist in yourself, and even a runner of a charity golf game, what else does the incredible Jason Blaine have possibly going on in 2020 and the future?
I mean, probably more of the same. I mean, sometimes I get out and snowboard. I don't know that's going to happen this winter, but I'll just be that takes up all my time. I mean, just what you said right there, doing all those things and running around to basketball games or soccer games. Looks like I'm going to coach my little boy's soccer team here in a couple weeks and do that and go into my girls' concert recitals, and I'm probably going to record some different music eventually, and maybe even a Christmas album or a Christmas EP too.
Oh, awesome! That'd be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's something I've never got around to, and I'm kind of trying to prioritize that for this year and see if we can get that done. It'll be fun. It'll be one of those things people always end up recording Christmas music in the middle of summer.
Is Christmas very big in your family?
Oh, absolutely. Probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite time of year, one of my favorite times of year, and definitely super important, and always love it. Yeah, I definitely, and I love Christmas music. I love the old stuff. I love the sort of classic, Bing Crosby, that kind of era, of 50s, I'd say, maybe 50s or 60s music but I also like the stuff that's sort of more acoustic, sort of driven, sort of broke down acoustic and mellow kind of Christmas stuff. I think if there's any kind of Christmas music, if there was any kind of, I love it all, but I'm probably not into like a super flashy I don't know, what would you say, overproduced or something. I don't know. I just love the heart. Those songs are so good. They don't need much around them.
So your Christmas album's probably going to be a lot very bare bones, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty sparse and let the songs just speak. I probably would do kind of a mellow Christmas album, I think.
All right, awesome. Before I ask my last question, Jason, where can the listeners of the podcast find out more about you and your upcoming EP?
Oh, for sure. Thanks, man. Instagram, follow me on Jason Blaine Official. Look for the blue check mark. It's a verified page on Instagram. Follow me along there. Follow me on Twitter, although I don't really do the Twitter thing much anymore. Facebook and jasonblaine.ca. All the links are at jasonblaine.ca. But definitely give me a follow on Spotify. Definitely Instagram. I think I'm on Instagram more than anything else.
All right, awesome. Well, we'll keep our eyes open for that blue check mark, and we'll be hitting that follow button. All right, last question, Jason. Do you have a favorite drank too much story?
Favorite drink too much story? Yes. I think the one that comes to mind is 2017 at the Canadian Country Music Awards. There's an infamous after party hosted by the now publishing company, record label, Anthem Entertainment. It's usually a private, sort of invite-only for artists, everybody in industry folks to kind of go in and blow off steam after the awards and have some fun. And it's usually an open bar, and it's crazy, and it gets really late. And that was a blurry night in 2017. I remember starting the night off. Lindsay L., who's nominated for Best New Female Artist at this year's ACMs here in Nashville, she she had come up to me early in the night before it got blurry and asked me if I'd come up on stage and jam some John Mayer with her, and we did, and it was awesome. And I remember kind of getting back up several times throughout the night. But definitely at some point I ended up wearing my buddy Clayton Bellamy's hat from the Road Hammers, and I don't think he ever got it back. I think we lost it. My suit jacket, I threw it off into the crowd with my cell phone in it. And I believe I got up and sang some Garth Brooks with Brett Kissel, only that there was video of it. The next day I got texted some pretty incriminating video. So that was definitely, it was a Gatorade and Advil the next morning kind of night. It was one for the books.
Gatorade and Advil is the trick for a hangover for you, is it?
Yeah, it was a good one for sure. It was, but a good pretty harmless fun night, and I did get my cell phone back, thank God.
Well, I mean, that's the important part, right? You had a good time, you still made it out with your cell phone, and I mean, cowboy hats can always be replaced.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks very much, man, for having me on your program, and remember, everybody, if you're going to drink too much, don't drive. That's the only rule.
The songs you heard today on the Desert Tiger podcast were Jason Blaine's brand new single, Drink Too Much. And that was followed by his 2018 single, Ain't Got Growing Up Down Yet. You can find both of these songs as well as Jason Blaine's entire catalog over on your favorite music streaming service. I highly suggest you go ahead and do so, and when you do so, hit the follow button so that you get informed when Jason releases his new EP this May. I want to go ahead and give Jason Blaine one last roaring Desert Tiger podcast thank you for joining me here on today's episode. And I also want to go ahead and give one of those roaring thank yous to the Mackenzie and the team over at Strut Entertainment for helping hook this conversation up. You know we got love for the team over at Strut, and I also have to give you, the listeners of this episode, a thank you as well. If you're new to the show, maybe you want to subscribe. Maybe you want to go ahead and give the show a 5-star review on Stitcher or iTunes. That would help us out a great deal. Maybe you enjoyed this episode enough that you want to share it on your social media, on your Twitter, your Facebook, maybe your Instagram stories, wherever you decide to do it. Tag Desert Tiger Podcast in it. Tag Jason Blaine. Tag even me, Colton G, and we'll go ahead and show you some love for, well, showing us some love. And if you want to take that extra step, you guys know where you can do it. You can head on over to ilovedtp.com to rep the show everywhere you go, and you can also support our other wonderful sponsors. All right. Until next week, guys, go ahead and find your mountain, your jungle, your desert, wherever it is. Find your mountain top. Climb to the top, even though the rocks are going to slip out underneath you. That's okay, because trials and tribulations make us stronger. And once we reach that mountaintop, we're going to let our voices roar like the tigers that we are. Tigers don't actually roar, but that's okay, because we're going to let our voices roar. And until next week, bye-bye.